Okay, people. Honestly, Steve McClaren is stupid, but Ravel has himself to blame.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
They got Gunnaz podcast.
Welcome back to the Gunnaz podcast. I am Dicanio, an Arsenal fan who covers everything reggae. Boys, I've been away from the space for a very long time. Literally a month that I've been away. I haven't been posting any videos. Just been going through and having to deal with a lot of things. Decided to take a break. Also suffered from burnout because I've been doing this for a full year consistently, over a year consistently, and just needed a rest. Thank you for everyone who reached out, those who didn't and who implored and asked me to come back into the space. Big up on as well. But yeah, I'm back now and I'll be trying to post as per usual the similar amount of videos or the same amount of videos that I was posting every other day, etc. etc. So in this specific video, I'm gonna be freestyling, not really scripted at all. And yeah, just before I head into it, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. I know it's something that you guys hear YouTubers say a lot, but it is very, very important. Hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Subscribe to help the channel grow. YouTube doesn't pay much, and being able to doing this consistently and sacrificing the time to do stuff like this, we would like to see a return as YouTubers. So yeah, man, just like the video or subscribe if you are new. So there has been a recent uproar amongst Reggae Boyz fans and media in the space about Ravel Morrison's exclusion from the national team. Now, you guys know my stance on this already, especially if you were following the Gunnaz YouTube channel before. I actually spoke about this 3 months ago as to why Ravel has been left out and had been left out. And the coach Steve McClaren said it yesterday in his press conference, word for word. Like every single thing that I said 3 months ago, Steve McClaren made mention of when asked about that. But the reason why I say Steve McClaren is stupid, in my personal opinion, is because even though what he said I technically agreed with, anyone who watches football and knows football knows that Ravel Morrison is better than what we have right now in the midfield. And even if that means that you're going to be carrying him to play 15 minutes or the final 15 minutes of a game, or to be an impact creative player, that still makes a whole lot of sense than bringing someone who you have no intention of using, or bringing someone just because they are playing good for their club. So hey, I'm going to bring them, but you have no plan of using them. When you have someone like Ravel Morrison and the chips are down, you can bring him on, you can play him and know exactly what you're going to get from him. He's going to create something, he's going to have a spark, and he's going to affect the game. Now, this recent uproar came mainly because Ravel Morrison was excluded from the preliminary roster for the Gold Cup. Now, if we take a look at the preliminary roster, it has midfielders like Tariq Jimenez, who really and truly is a all-rounded player. He plays striker, right back, and midfield, right? I think his best position is at right back when he's playing against real big men. And if he wants to break into this team, that is the position that he would have to do it at. Then we have Shamar Watson, we have Jonathan Russell, my guy. I'm going to be making a video about his inclusion soon. Then we have Demario Phillips, we have Casey Palmer, we have Kyle Ming as a midfielder. Something seems off. We know Kyle Ming from Mount Pleasant as a centre back or a right back, right? Terry McGee should not be on that preliminary roster at all, right? Especially over the like of Ravel Morrison. Then we have Jamal Lowe. We all know Jamal Lowe is a forward. He's not a midfielder. Why is he there in the midfield in the preliminary roster? Then we have Tyrese Hall, Isaac Hayden, and Nikhil Ellis from Racing. A lot of people are happy with his inclusion. We have Lewis Baker, Dwayne Busy Atkinson, who I think should be a regular in this squad going forward. Karai Anderson, we are all familiar with him. Christopher Ainsworth, who is a left back by trade, right? Listed in the midfielders list. Andre Fletcher of Waterhouse. Raheem Edwards listed in the midfield list, who is a striker, right? And Genario Johnson. So that is a list that was presented on the Gold Cup's main page. that the Reggae Boys obviously presented to them, right? Now, in my opinion, there are many players on this list that I can call that Ravel Morrison is clearly better than. A lot of them who have had their chances, right? And as I'll talk about a bit later on in this video, Steve McClaren made mention of the fact that Ravel Morrison is not playing at a particularly high level and he hasn't been able to see him, etc., etc. I think all that is just bullshit, right? You selected Tariq Maggi after watching a 10-minute highlight clip. A 10-minute highlight clip. There are many highlight clips of Ravel Morrison and the work that he's doing, the goals that he's scoring, the class goals, technique, volleys, dribbling, hard work, everything. There are clips out there. You could have watched those 10-minute clips out there and decided if you wanted, just like you did for Tariq Maggi, who is currently trash, right? The same thing you could have done for that you did for Tariq Maggi, you could have done for Ravel Morrison, right? And if you look at the names in that team that have made that preliminary roster for the Gold Cup, two names stand out. That is Tariq Maggi and Casey Palmer. Players that have done nothing with the chances that they have gotten in this national team. And you're telling me that you can't give Ravel Morrison a chance? A player that is finally fit and firing, no matter what level he's playing at. The fact that he is fit, he's firing at the level that he's playing at. Give him a chance. And that takes me over to the next point, which is the Unity Cup squad, right? The Unity Cup is based on this selection, by the way. In my opinion, it's a cup that is going to be giving players who are on the fringes chances, right? Now, you are telling me that Ravel Morrison could not make that midfield? Even if you don't believe 100%, right, that he is the man that can be the man in the midfield, or if he doesn't deserve a squad in the Gold Cup, right, at least give him a chance to see what he can do against Ghana, Trinidad. Tell him this is his final chance. Tell him this is his chance to prove. You know the quality that he has. You know the quality that he possesses. If you can't watch it on TV, travel go Dubai. What are you doing in your free time as a national team coach? Travel go Dubai and go watch Ravel. Simple. Tell him say come. Ask him where the game's played and them thing there, right? And find out and go watch him for yourself to see if he has anything that can be of good value to the team. Before you came to Jamaica, you knew nothing about the Jamaica Premier League, and you yourself said out of your mouth, Steve McClaren, that you are impressed with some of the players in that league. So it's the same thing. You've never seen the Dubai League, so why not go and actually watch it? There's a player that can unlock many defenses playing in that league, something that this Jamaica Reggae Boys team lacks. And you're telling me that you can't spend a little one trip for go watch the man and see how I'm actually playing? Because his stats shows it. He's been scoring goals left, right, and center. So give the man a chance. That's all Reggae Boys people are asking. I've seen the fans sending out petitions, and I've signed it. I've signed that petition because I want to see him here. Will it do anything? No, it won't do anything. But why not sign the petition, right? All of these things, I'm seeing Casey Palmer, a man who's had chance after chance after chance and done jack shit for the Reggae Boys, continually getting selected. I'm seeing Brandon Cover, a right back by trade, being selected in the midfield for a Unity Cup squad. If you can put a right back in the midfield for a Unity Cup squad, why not just put Ravel Morrison there and see what he can do? If he doesn't perform to the expectations anymore, at least Reggae Boys will see that you gave him a chance, he didn't perform, send him home. And no one would have would even argue, right? You gave Tariq Maggi a chance. You gave other players a chance, players who have failed us before you and even while you have been here. And you continue to give these players chances. Why? And then you're going to come with excuses as to why Ravel Morrison cannot make the team. That is utter rubbish. And I'm not saying what he said or the reasons that he said is rubbish, right? Because I did a video 3 months ago, as I told you guys, that where I said the exact same thing that Steve McClaren is saying, right? Because in January, Ravel Morrison was linked, right? Let's go even further away. In November, he was called for the second game against the United States that we lost 4-2. and we got knocked out of the Nations League. He didn't feature at all. Even when we were losing, even when we needed goals, he was on the bench and he sat down. He didn't feature. Now, based on what Steve McClaren said in the interview yesterday, he said that after that game, he spoke to Ravel and his agent and told him he needs to be playing at a higher level if he wants to be selected again. And this is where I said, and this is where I will say, that Ravel has himself to blame. Ravel was linked to 3 championship level teams in January, right? And for some reason, he did not make a move. Now, if the national team coach tells you that you need to be playing at a higher level, and it's the same thing that I said in the video 3 months ago, before we even knew about this and before Steve commented about it, right? It was very evident to me that he needed to be playing at a higher level to really prove himself, which is what I said in the video back then, right? He had links to other clubs, and those links didn't come into fruition, which means that he's happy where he's at. He doesn't want to be playing at a higher level. And technically, you then take the decision of the national team coach's hands, because how can you justify to a nation, how can you justify to other players who are playing and want to be there based off merit, right? That someone playing in a third-tier division of a league that is not even recognized, right? No stats are tracked or anything like that, which I did mention before, is going to be in the team over there, right? So technically, I understand everything that Steve McClaren is saying. And if you want to go by the book, then he's right for leaving Ravel out. But going by the book does not do, it hasn't been doing much for the Reggae Boys. Playing Casey Palmer in the midfield continuously has not been doing much for the Reggae Boys. Leaving Jonathan Russell, an informed player, for the entire season out of every single international break has not done much, right? You have not been going by the book, because if you have been going by the book, Jonathan Russell would have been selected in the past 3 windows, and he was not, right? So you were not going by the book. So you can't be not going by the book and not selecting informed players here, right, that are playing at the level that you're talking about, but yet still you're going to have a different change of tone for Ravel, right? There needs to be a standard that we can judge you by, because how on earth is Jonathan Russell the most informed player in this Jamaican national team from the moment you drop him from that team with your first selection and tell him, say, yo, you need to start play games? The man start play games right away, improve in a training, get back into Barnsley's lineup, and has never dropped out of Barnsley's lineup ever since then. Scoring goals, box crashing, box-to-box midfield, hard tackles, everything, assist, everything you can ask or need of a midfielder, he has been. And you have not selected him until this Unity Cup squad. And then you want to tell me that the level that Ravel is playing at is the problem? When you have included Tariq McGee, who is playing at the bottom, right? The bottom of the Jamaica Premier League and has just got relegated. And you continue to play Tariq McGee. You continue to select Tariq McGee. And even up to now, you have selected him in the Gold Cup preliminary squad. And you're telling me Tariq McGee and Casey Palmer, who have consistently failed this national team, but none of them have even have a goal for this national team as yet, right? And Ravel Morrison, who have about 4 goals for this national team in the small amount of time that he's played, not to mention the assists that he has, not to mention the penalties that he's won, right? The chances that he has created, right? And he's talking about the fact that Ravel is not playing at a high level. No, even when Ravel was playing for Jamaica 2 years ago, Ravel was still, or 3 years ago, Ravel was still not playing at a higher level, right? He was in and out of teams. He was in a derby team that was struggling, right? He wasn't playing at the best level. I don't even think he was in as good as a condition as he's in now and performing at now, right? So that to me should not be an excuse when you consistently pick players that are underperforming. The Unity Cup is a competition where you should give players a chance to prove themselves. And if you have a player, and if you yourself said it out of your own mouth in that press conference, right, that you know the type of player that Ravel is if he is on form or if he is in form, and you would love to have that player, and you see that he's in form at a lower level, why not give him the chance at a higher level to prove himself? If you really know that having Ravel in form, playing at the top level, right, if he's able to still do that, as you said, it's going to really benefit this team, why not risk it? Why do you care about pleasing a Casey Palmer who has consistently failed you? Why do you care about pleasing a Tariq McGee who has consistently failed you? Why are you listing Brandon Cover a right back? That is where he's playing for his club, right? For the past 2 years, Brandon Cover has been playing as a right back. Why have you included a right back in your team as a midfielder? Why not put Ravel Morrison in the team instead? Those are the questions that people need to be asking. No, I'm not saying Ravel has to be the answer, but we all know what he has. We've seen him play for Jamaica, 20 appearances. And in those 20 appearances, we've seen him do way more than what Casey Palmer and Tariq McGee have done in more appearances or similar amount of appearances. Right? So those are the questions that we need to be asking Steve McClaren. I'm not saying again that his judgment and the way how he went by the book to select the players was wrong. But at the end of the day, your judgment and you going by the book, it's not working. The players are not impressing. And if players are not impressing, what are you going to do to change that? Are you going to consistently use the same players that are trash? Or are you going to give players on the fringes a chance? Right? That is the food for thought, people. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Smash the like button. As I said, I'll be back. I don't know when my next video will be, but I'm going to be posting more often. So smash the like button. Remember to share your thoughts below in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Jamaica have a lifeline. How about this?
Big up Gunnaz podcast.